regulators are frustrated?
Here's the way I would portray it. For the longest time, and I remember this in the 1990s when I was in Congress, we were trying to make sure we didn't upset the cart in what we were seeing develop here, this new industry that was just blossoming. Everyone wanted to treat the industry with kid gloves, just very carefully. Let them continue. It's like your baby. You want to see it nurtured and grow, and you coddle it and baby it all the way through. The industry is no longer a baby. It's not even an infant. In fact, I'd say it's running pretty much at Olympic speed. And so now it's time to treat the industry as an adult. So you have to act like an adult, and you have to understand there are consequences that adults face when they don't do things the right way. And so whether it's the well-known companies or not, no longer can the excuse be, well, hey, we didn't understand what we were doing. We were very new at this. We were experimenting. No, you're playing with people's lives, you're playing with people's data, and you're playing with people's money. And so no longer can you use the excuse you were a child or an adolescent. You're an adult now.
Sure, and on the flip side of it, what's your thought about the resources that regulators have, not just yourself, but other states, the federal government? Do you sometimes feel like the investments haven't been made, the authorities might not be there to really go toe-to-toe with some of these companies and, hold them to account for some of the things that they've done?
Well, when the legislature here in California was in the process of passing this new internet law, privacy law, I made sure I communicated to all the leaders and I put it in writing and said, unless you do certain things, we're essentially driving ourselves towards failure, because if you're expecting me, and the only me, because the consumers won't have a right of action, to do the enforcement, it's going to collapse. And so, one, I'm going to need resources. Two, you're going to have to change some of this so people actually have a right that they can enforce. And three, you got to remove some of the provisions that essentially give industry a free pass. I mean, if I have to, there's a provision in the law that would require me to essentially act as counsel for the companies and when they ask for guidance or advice. If I'm giving them advice on how they violated the law, it's going to make it really tough for me later on to enforce the law for their violations. And so there's some changes that have to be made and resources that have to be provided for us to get this right. Otherwise, consumers are going to get very upset that that right that they thought they had isn't being protected.
Yeah.